The book of First Kings, chapter 21, verse 1, 1 Kings 21 and 1, 1 Kings, the 21st chapter and the first verse. Naboth's vineyard. There was a vineyard near King Ahab's palace in Samaria. A man from Jezreel named Naboth owned it. One day Ahab said to Naboth, "Give me your vineyard that is near my palace. I want to make it a vegetable garden." Now you're the king and you're worried about making a vegetable garden? Okay, I've heard it all. "I'll give you a better vineyard in its place, or if you prefer, I'll pay for it." Naboth answered, "By the Lord, I will never give my land to you. This land belongs to my family." So Ahab went home angry and upset because Nahab told him, "I will not give you my family's land." Ahab went to bed, turned away from everyone, and refused to eat. This grown man is having a fit because someone wouldn't give him land so he could make a vegetable garden. Okay. His wife Jezebel went to him and asked him, "Why are you so upset? Why do you refuse to eat?" Ahab answered, "I asked Naboth from Jezreel to give me his vineyard. I told him that I would pay him full price, or if he preferred, I would give him another vineyard, but he refused to give it to me." Jezebel answered, "But you're the king over Israel. Get out of bed and eat something, and you'll feel better. I'll get Naboth's vineyard for you." Then Jezebel wrote some letters. She signed Ahab's name to them and used his seal to seal the letters. Then she sent them to the elders and important men who lived in the same town as Naboth. This is what the letter said. "Announce that there will be a day of fasting when the people eat nothing. Then call all the people of the town together for a meeting. At the meeting, we will talk about Naboth. Find some men who will tell lies about Naboth. They should say that they heard Naboth speak against the king and against God." Jezebel, you don't even believe in God. You serve Baal, so why are you worried about that? "Then take Naboth out of the city and kill him with stones." So the elders and important men of Jezreel obeyed the command. The leaders announced that there would be a day when all the people would eat nothing. On that day, they called all the people together for a meeting. They put Naboth in a special place before the people. Then two men told the people that they heard Naboth speak against God and the king. So the people carried Naboth out the city and killed him with stones. Then the leaders sent a message to Jezebel that said, "Naboth has been killed." When Jezebel heard this, she said to Ahab, "Naboth is dead. Now you can go and take the vineyard that you wanted." So Ahab went to the vineyard and took it for his own. All over a grown man wanting to plant vegetables. Then the Lord spoke to Elijah the prophet from Tishbe. "Go to King Ahab in Samaria. He will be at Naboth's vineyard. He's there to take the vineyard as his own. Tell Ahab that I, the Lord, say to him, 'Ahab, you killed the man Naboth, and now you're taking this land, his land. So I, the Lord, tell you this, where the dogs licked up the blood of Naboth, they'll lick up your blood as well.'" So Elijah went to Ahab. When Ahab saw him, he said, "Well, my enemy has found me again." Elijah answered, "Yes, I found you, because you have again sold yourself out to do what the Lord says is evil. So this is what he says to you. I'll make something bad happen to you. I will kill you. Every male in your family, I'll destroy your family just as I destroyed the families of King Jeroboam, son of Nebat, and King Baasha. I'll do this to you because you've made me angry and you've caused the Israelites to sin. The Lord also says this about your wife, Jezebel. Dogs will eat the body of Jezebel by the wall of the city of Jezreel. As for the family of Ahab, whoever dies in the city will be eaten by dogs. Whoever dies in the field will be eaten by birds." So Ahab sold himself out to do what the Lord says is evil. There was no one who did as much evil as Ahab and his wife Jezebel, who caused him to do these things. Ahab committed the terrible sin of worshiping those filthy gods, just as the Amorites did. And that is why the Lord took the land from them and gave it to the Israelites. When Ahab heard what Elijah said, he tore his clothes to show how sad he was. Then he put on sackcloth and refused to eat. He even slept in these clothes. He was very sad and upset. It sounds like Ahab has some emotional and mental issues going on. From one extreme to the next. The Lord said to the prophet Elisha from Tishbe, "Look, Ahab has humbled himself before me, so I'll not make that disaster happen during his lifetime. I will wait until his son is king, then I will destroy his family." Wow. 1 Kings 22, Micaiah warns King Ahab. For the next 2 years, there was peace between Israel and Aram. Then during the third year, King Jehoshaphat of Judah went to visit King Ahab of Jezebel. Ahab asked his officials, "Remember when the king of Aram took Ramoth Gilead from us? That city's ours. So why have we done nothing to get it back?" So Ahab asked King Jehoshaphat, "Will you join with us to go fight the Arameans at Ramoth Gilead?" Jehoshaphat answered, "Yes." You and I will be as one. My men and my horses will be as yours. But let's first ask the Lord for advice. So Ahab called a meeting of the prophets. There were about 400 prophets at that time. Ahab asked the prophet, should I go and attack the Arameans at Ramoth Gilead or not? The prophets answered Ahab, yes, because the Lord will let you defeat Ramoth Gilead. But Jehoshaphat said, doesn't the Lord have another prophet here? Let's ask him the same question. King Ahab answered, yes, there's another prophet. His name is Micaiah, son of Imlah. But I hate him because he won't say anything good about me when he speaks for the Lord. He always says things that I don't like. Ahab sounds like a spoiled brat. Jehoshaphat said, the king should not say this. So King Ahab told one of his officers to go and find Micaiah. At that time, the two kings were sitting on their thrones with their royal robes at the judgment place near the gates of Samaria. All the prophets were standing there before them prophesying. One of the prophets was named Zedekiah, son of Kenah. Zedekiah made some iron horns and said, the Lord said, you will use these iron horns to fight against the army of Aram. You will defeat them and destroy them. All the other prophets agreed with Zedekiah and said, your army should march now to go fight against the Arameans at Ramoth Gilead. You'll win the battle. The Lord will let you defeat them. While this was happening, the officer went to find Micaiah. When he found him, the officer told him, now all the prophets have said that the king will succeed, so you should say the same thing. But Micaiah answered, as surely as the Lord lives, I can only say what the Lord says. Micaiah went and stood before King Ahab. The king asked him, Micaiah, should we go and attack the Arameans at Ramoth Gilead or not? Micaiah answered, oh, yes, go and be successful. The Lord will let you take the city. But Ahab answered, how many times I have to tell you? Tell me the truth. What does the Lord say? So Micaiah answered, I see the army of Israel scattered all over the hills like sheep with no one to lead them. This is what the Lord says. These men have no leaders. Let them go home in peace. Then Ahab said to Jehoshaphat, see, I told you, this prophet never says anything good about me. He always says something bad. But Micaiah said, listen to this message from the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne. All of heaven's army was standing around him, some on the left side, some on the right side. The Lord said, which of you will go fool Ahab into attacking the Arameans at Ramoth Gilead so that he will be killed? The angels discussed many different plans. Then a spirit went and stood before the Lord and said, I will fool him. The Lord answered, how will you do it? The spirit answered, I will go to Ahab's prophets and cause him to tell lies. So the Lord said, yes, that will fool Ahab. Go and do that. So that is what has happened here. The Lord made your prophets lie to you. The Lord himself decided to bring this disaster to you. Then the prophet Zedekiah went to Micaiah and hit him on the face. Zedekiah said, how is it that the Spirit of the Lord left me to speak through you? Micaiah answered, look, what I said will happen. You'll see it one day, and when you're in a secret room somewhere hiding. Then King Ahab ordered one of his officers to arrest Micaiah. Ahab said, arrest him and take him to Amon, the governor of the city and prince of Joash. Tell him to put Micaiah in prison. Give him nothing but bread and water to eat. Keep him in there until I come home from the battle. Micaiah said, listen to me, everyone. Ahab, if you come back alive from the battle, the Lord has not spoken through me. The battle at Ramoth Gilead. King Ahab of Israel and King Jehoshaphat of Judah went to fight the Arameans at Ramoth Gilead. Ahab said to Jehoshaphat, disguise yourself when you go into battle, but wear your own clothes, and I will disguise myself. The king of Israel went into battle dressed like an ordinary soldier. The king of Aram had 32 chariot commanders. He gave them this command: don't go after anyone except the king of Israel, no matter how important they are. When the commanders saw King Jehoshaphat, they thought he was king of Israel, and so they went to kill him. Jehoshaphat started shouting. When the commanders saw that he was not King Ahab, they stopped chasing him. Then a soldier in the distance pulled back far as he could on his bow and shot an arrow into the air. The arrow happened to hit the king of Israel in the small hole where his armor was fastened together. King Ahab said to the chariot driver, I've been hit. Turn the chariot around and take me off the battlefield. The armies continued to fight while King Ahab was propped up in his chariot. He was leaning against the sides of the chariot, looking out toward the Arameans. His blood ran down onto the floor of the chariot. Later that evening, he died. At sunset, all the Israelites cheered when they were told to go home, so they all went back to their hometowns. And that is how King Ahab died. Some men carried his body to Samaria and buried him there. They took his chariot to the large pool in Samaria to clean it. The dogs licked up Ahab's blood while the prostitutes washed the chariot. This happened just as the Lord said it would. The rest of what King Ahab did during the time he ruled is in the book, The History of the Kings of Israel. That book tells about all the cities he built and all the ivory that he used to decorate his palace. Ahab died and was buried with his ancestors. His son Ahaziah became the next king after him. Summary of Jehoshaphat's rule. Jehoshaphat, son of Asa, became the king of Judah in Ahab's fourth year as king of Israel. Jehoshaphat was 35 years old when he became king, and he ruled in Jerusalem for 25 years. His mother was Azubah, the daughter of Shilhi. Azubah. Like his father Asa, Jehoshaphat was good and did everything that the Lord wanted, but he did not destroy the high places. The people continued offering sacrifices and burning incense there. Jehoshaphat made a peace agreement with the king of Israel. Jehoshaphat was very brave and fought many wars. The rest of what he did is written in the book, The History of the Kings of Judah. Jehoshaphat forced all the men and women who sold their bodies for sex to leave the places of worship. They had served in these places of worship while his father Asa was king. In those days, Edom did not have a king. It was ruled by a governor who was chosen by the king of Judah. King Jehoshaphat built some cargo ships. He wanted the ships to sail to Ophir for gold, but they never went there. They were destroyed in their home port of Ezion-Geber. Then King Ahaziah of Israel offered to put some of his own sailors with Jehoshaphat's men on the ships, but Jehoshaphat refused to accept his help. Jehoshaphat died and was buried with his ancestors in the city of David. Then his son Jehoram became the next king. Ahaziah, king of Israel. Ahaziah was the son of Ahab. He became king of Israel during the 17th year that King Jehoshaphat ruled Judah. Ahaziah ruled in Samaria for 2 years. He sinned against the Lord just as his parents, Ahab and Jezebel, did. He caused Israel to sin just as Jeroboam, son of Nebat, did. Ahaziah served the false god Baal and worshipped him, just as his father did before him. He did all the things that his father did to make the Lord, the God of Israel, angry. This is the word of the Lord. Place those words in the comment section. Make sure you follow, like, share, and subscribe, and encourage others to join in with us as we read through the Bible.